You can say that people wanted somebody who can beat Trump. So many in the party thought that having a younger person would help the Democrats. There's another very important point. People started accepting Kamala Harris. They want Israel to recognize this two-state solution. They said he will support the Israeli military offensive and everything. Encourage liberal and left-leaning voters in America to support Kamala rather than Donald Trump. You see, this is a tradition in the United States. Both the Republican and Democratic parties, they hold their primaries, and then different factions put up their candidates. They fight with each other. They go around touring the country, and then the primary is held. The voting is held, and then one of 5 or 6 people emerges as the leading candidate, and that candidate is then nominated as the official candidate of the party in the national conference. The Republican National Conference has already been held, and Trump has been announced as the official candidate of the Republican Party. Now, the Democrat, because of President Biden, had to delay the process. President Biden was insisting that as the incoming president, he has the right to seek a second term, and that he is physically fit enough to compete and beat Donald Trump. But as the process unfolded, it became obvious that he's not fit. You saw during the first presidential debate, he fumbled, he made mistakes, and everybody, including the Democrats, agreed that Trump was a clear winner of that debate. So after the debate, people started demanding us and urging President Biden to step down, but he did not. He continued it for another month or two. It was only when he came down with COVID-19 that he also started realizing that he was physically not fit, first to compete and beat Trump, and then to lead America for another 4 years. So ultimately, others in the party were able to convince him to step down. So while all this happened, Republicans took the lead. They completed their process, and they projected Trump as the candidate, as the person who is going to win the elections and who will lead America for the next 4 years. And that obviously left the Democrats behind. So there is a realization within the party, the Democratic Party, that they're already behind the Republicans, that what they are doing now should have happened late last year or earlier this year. And by then, they should have also had one clear candidate. Which now seems to be the case. Now, after Biden's withdrawal, he then nominated Vice President Kamala Harris as the candidate. And in the first few days, there was some reluctance, but then others in the party also started supporting her. Former President Obama, his wife Michelle Obama, former President Clinton, and Hillary Clinton, they all gradually started announcing their support for her and started endorsing her candidacy. Now it is very clear that when Democratic National Convention is held in mid-August, on the 19th of August rather, Kamala Harris will be nominated as the official candidate of the party. And because of that, the party has started rallying behind her. And I do not see Kamala Harris any problem in getting the support of the party or in getting the party behind her. She will be, I think, nominated as the official candidate of the party when the convention is held. And this people have already realized and accepted that. You must have seen that last week she collected about $100 million, and that the funds are actually the core, and that every candidate, it's a huge country, and you have to travel across the country. You have to go and meet other people. You have to spend on election campaign and everything. So you cannot win election without funds. And this collection of funds for her shows that those in the party who have the money to support her, they are also supporting her. So it is very obvious that she will not be the official candidate of the party. Well, that is, people were not happy with her is like is not a fair statement. You can say that people wanted somebody or who can beat Trump. And initially they thought that a younger person who is more energetic and who looks fresh, he or she would be a better placed to beat Trump. Because you see what is happening in this election is that both the candidates, President Biden and President Trump, or both of them are seen as old. I mean, yes, President Biden has reached 80, but then Trump is not far behind. He's 78, 79. He will be, by the time he completes his second tenure, if he wins in November, then he'll be 83 or 84. So, and that is something that people are already worrying about. So many in the party thought that having a younger person would help the Democrats. But when President Obama stepped down and announced that he wants her to replace him, people started accepting Kamala Harris. There's another very important point that you cannot ignore. That is the fear of Donald Trump. Democrats are sort of left-leaning, centrist, liberals who have certain values. They, for instance, they support abortion. Republicans do not. For instance, they're sympathetic to immigrants, which Republicans are very much against. They do not want any more immigration. They even talk about pushing out those who are already here, which Democrats do not. So then there's this issue of tolerance for people of other ethnicity and other religious and lingual background. So the Democrats see America as a country of immigrants, and they say that they should recognize all religions, they should recognize all languages, they should recognize people of every ethnic background and work together. So there is a fear within the left-leaning or liberal Americans that if President Trump wins, he will change America beyond recognition. He's already talking about, pushing out immigrants. He's already talking about banning abortion. He's already talking about discouraging people of other faith. I mean, not just him, he and his supporters talk about these things. And that has scared many liberal Americans. So they are also rallying behind Kamala Harris. The Jews have been living in the West for centuries. And there's a history behind him. The Jews were persecuted all across Europe. Even in America, there was a time until 1940s where you could see signs in restaurants and other places saying Jews are not allowed. So when the Second World War happened and the way Hitler tried to eliminate Jews from Germany, that created a sense of guilt in the West. And all liberal thinking people, even right-wing people, then they started saying enough is enough. They are the Jews. I mean, part of the Western society, they're part of the Western culture. Our culture is not just Christian culture, it is Judeo-Christian culture. And they started embracing Jews as, a part of their nations, not just in America and Britain, in France and in Germany and in other places. Jews are now seen as part of the mainstream. So whoever wins the election in November, you won't see America turning against Jews or America turning against Israel. America will continue to have good relations with the Jewish people. America will continue to support Israel. But during this Gaza crisis, where almost 40,000 people have been killed by the Israeli troops, there has also been a big backlash against Israel policies, against the war in Gaza. People who want Israel to stop the military offensive. People support President Biden's plan for a two-state solution. They want Israel to recognize this two-state solution. So I think the democratic leadership seems to have realized that now is the time to talk about Palestine. So you see that in her statement during the last 2 days, particularly during Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's visit to Washington. Kamala Harris also spoke about Palestinians, also talked about stopping the killings in Gaza. She also talked about the two states solution, and she sort of tried to, on some occasion, she distanced herself from Netanyahu, like she could have, but she did not preside the joint congressional meeting that Netanyahu addressed. So she is giving the indications that she will be softer on Palestine and that she will use her influence to persuade Israel to accept a ceasefire and to accept a two-state solution. How far she succeeds is another question. And when this is contrasted with Republican pronouncements on Israel and on the war in Gaza, then it becomes very obvious that the Republican administration would continue to take a hard line on this issue. They will continue to support Israel. Former President Trump has already said that he wants Israel to finish off and end the war by finishing off Hamas. And he said he will support the Israeli military offensive and everything. So this will, the Democrats hope that the softening attitude would encourage liberal and left-leaning voters in America to support Kamala rather than Donald Trump.